Hello and welcome to my channel. There's a lot going on in iSWA, so I figured I'd do a little update video on it too and show you a neat little thing I found that might be a moon orbiting a planet. Well, we know there are multiple planets in here, or magnets, however you want to think of them. Planets or moons and magnets, but anyways, let's start out with just a frame of the magnetic tool. This is set up for 6 hours as usual, 100 frames. Let it run real quick. As you can see, we've got a lot going on here, and pay attention to the front in the sense that there's really nothing going on from the front. This is all happening behind Earth. Okay, this one's almost done. Alright, now, you saw that. Let's just hit the solar wind tool and pay attention to the wind speeds, which is here, maximum. So here we're hitting 1400s. You know, then it's dropping down to 300s. Then each time this event happens, the wind speed goes up. Alright, so you saw some big figures. I know that ain't the big deal. It's not a big deal, the numbers, but I just want to show you where it's coming from. And to do that, I'm going to show you where it's not coming from. Let's just do a quick refresh. So SWPC, real-time solar wind. These are interesting. I've never seen these before, so it's something I'll keep an eye on. And of course, you guys do that too. So this 7 days, here's the wind speed coming from ACE and Discover. What's going to hit the Earth? Current time is here. We're looking at wind speeds of 358 kilometers per hour. Per second, sorry, kilometers per second. So these are normal wind speeds. But here we are on the solar wind tool, we're seeing 1400. So where that is actually coming from, well, you can see it right here. The arrows will tell you exactly where it came from. It's not coming from the sun side over here. This is all normal. Yet this is Earth, and this is Earth's bow shock that is formed because of the solar wind. So as you can see, that these are coming from Earth. Yes, that happens. It's been happening a lot. It used to happen every once in a while, these large blasts. And we've had a good dry spell then where we just had a lot of little pings and a lot of small pushes, but now in the last few days or so, these have come back. Earth is pushing big time. And I just wanted to let you know that these are coming from Earth. We can tell magnetically and the solar wind from the tools that are out there telling us where those, like the satellites, are located. We showed you the satellite located out front of Earth at L1 Lagrange point. It's not there. We're not seeing those wind speeds. But we come to iSWA and we know that the satellites are inside the bow shock. Here's the satellites that they're showing. They're inside. So when we're getting a reading like these we're seeing here, we know it's coming from Earth. Okay. Now what does it mean? What is that telling you? Where, yes, we know they're coming from Earth. Right here is where the Earth is drawing in the energy to do these closed field lines. And if you go through my videos, and you will see as I explain closed field lines and why they're happening. So that's not a mystery here what's going on. So why would Earth do these? Well, the only reason why Earth would do these is Earth as a magnet is because there's another magnet here of the same polarity. So when you try to match two north ends of two different magnets, if you have a north and a north or a south and a south, what do? They push away from each other. This closed field lines. So these red lines are closed field lines. The polar cap, so has happened is now Earth has pushed against this magnet, and then as the push has gone out, has then electrically connected to it, as since we see black. Now, I mean, Earth, the sun's wind is shaping our Earth's magnetic field. It looks this way because of that. So everything is pretty uniformed in the sense of Earth is a sphere and it's the most efficient shape, but it still has a bow shock. So this environment inside the bow shock it has to be something there to alter it because the major part of the wind is going around. So to see disturbances inside a shield or a dome, if you wish, there has to be something there inside it. So what's going on is that's Earth. The energy is coming from the bow shock and is expanded out as closed field lines. That's where that energy comes from. Now these are very strong, and when we see large blasts like this, huge major pushes, it's a good time to spot things going on. Now we aren't seeing these as blue, so it means this is all still connected to Earth. We're seeing just black polar cap and red closed field lines. This Earth's magnetic field. The blue is not Earth's magnetic field. Generally in this model it's shown as the sun's magnetic field and the planets, but that's these vertical lines. So like we're seeing blue back here, that's a standalone magnetic signature. That's not from our sun or any of our planets or Earth. Now, you can tell a lot of times based on the field lines, and you understand magnetics by looking at a ferrocell, you can tell where these planets are, these magnets, planets or moons. There's no suns in this frame, in this tool, though we think we see some magnetic field lines of Ra or Horus. Well, probably Ra, one of our three suns. See, like here, this is a standalone magnetic signature. It's not associated with Earth. That's one big reason why Earth is doing closed field lines, but there are other magnets in the chain here. So, as you know, like I explained with closed field lines and why they're happening, well, there's a compression with all these other bodies in here. I mean, they're stretching from here all the way back beyond. It's a chain. And when the compression becomes too tight, as I've explained, these magnets, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot to the sides. So, let's see. I mean, it's just a great tool. I just love this. I could sit here all day and watch these. Now, as I said, when these events happen, we can see little, where to go? Little hidden secrets, little gems that may not show up normally. There it is. Alright, so here we have the change in density. There's something sitting here. All these blasts have come from the same region, as you can see. And we have a little signature here. Now, what I think this is a moon orbiting a planet, and I'll show you why. And I think as time goes on with the timestamp 2300, it'll actually show up over here the next time, in the next blast. So it quite possibly could have been enough time for this possible little moon to have orbited. And I'll show you in the next one right there. And this next view of it is even more interesting and more evidence that there is something right there. We have the same spot, same density spot. And then we have a standalone polar cap. That's interesting. This is a little magnetosphere. This is a large magnetosphere, a very tiny magnetosphere pushing back, saying, hey, boop, 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 I'm here. And you saw the same thing over here. Right there. So quite possibly could have gone around. Or maybe it's two separate ones. But those times like this, like I said, you can see those little tiny signatures pop out. So always try to go through these slowly and see. Man. Right here, that's a lot of IMF. That is coming from another body. That's a magnetic field that is not associated whatsoever. This is what I mean by the big pushes. Earth has stored a lot of energy to do this. More energy than we could ever produce in a lifetime is in energy in these closed field lines. Well, that's an interesting one, the spiral in the middle. But these are pretty big, even possibly here. We just can't see if the polar cap lines are reaching around and connecting to this body here. But we have, let's just go over a couple that I see popping in real quick in their locations. All right, well, we'll just go here. You're looking at 30 here, so you're looking at around 140,000 miles from Earth, roughly. I mean, the moon's at 60 at 275, so half the distance, we're looking at 135, 140,000 miles behind Earth, inside lunar orbit. So quit looking at the sun. You got it right here in our own backyard. Yeah, see these are pretty telltale. We have something here. We know at 30. There's another one here because we showed the possible two little moons from it. Good indication here. Little indicator there. That one again. I mean, the shape of the field is kind of the indicator a lot of times. There's so many ways to tell. Each type of field line plus the density, shape, the form of the push. We talked about that one. And of course, the old big blue back there on the left. See a piece of him right now. Now these field lines, why they shape the way they do is because it is hitting an electromagnetic barrier, another electromagnetic field. So that's acting as a barrier. And since they're closed, they have to go around each other. Because the energy from the sun is still pushing it on. So it forms around it. I mean, any of these little rocks in the street, could be definitely indicators. Now, the only thing I can say that I don't know what's on here is this tiny dot right there. They don't have it on the key. It's not the moon. It's not a satellite on the key, but it shows. And you can watch it and see it's moving. It moves with the satellites. It's in geosync orbit. It's just something they just don't show. So if you look at the Australian model of the magnetopause, they got like 18 satellites on that model. So we know it's not GOES and 13 and 14 because they retired them or put them to other use. So they're using more up-to-date satellites now, like 16 and 17. All right, let's just go over the solar wind. Let's start from the beginning. Another great tool that can tell you where things are. Oh, here we go. The solar wind reverses. If you look up eddy current, you can see the exact same formation. The models, we've got the same thing going on here because we have multiple magnets. Now through all that time with all these, you can see that the front is very quiet. But our polarity behind the Earth is not. And the only way you can have that is you have more than one sun. You can't reverse your polarity with one sun. Everything's locked in place. Earth is in a Lagrange point, just like ACE and Discover. Satellites, they keep them in a Lagrange point. That way, as the sun spins, all the, its field creates Lagrange points, and that's where they put satellites, and that's where your planets are sitting. So if you want to understand, that's not gravity, that's just magnetic field and polarity, keeping it there. Lots of videos out there that will show that. Primer fields, you could watch the first primer fields video from David LaPointe and see that. Plus, other examples have been shown from other channels. We talk about channels a lot, but I mean, video does help people, and there isn't much out there as in the correct magnetic field. People are catching up and putting websites up, but so for that, so we have the ferrocell. We obviously promote scientifically, and that playlist, the motion of everything at field defined, and you will see that these models are the same thing, especially the magnetic field lines tool. So it's not hard to figure out. You can watch my tutorials and pick it up and learn the same thing, but like for example, Scientific Lee's playlist, you can actually see it in the ferrocell and apply it. You just have to keep in mind that this magnetic field is shaped by solar wind, where the field in a magnet in a ferrocell is not shaped. But it all still applies. You just have to just think of it this way. Anyways, I think I've gone long enough on this one, and I gotta enjoy. I got New Year's coming up here in about a little over 2 hours, so it's time to head on out and enjoy my evening. Talk to y'all later.